being called a bitch, a cunt, and a witch. Call me them all at the same time if you'd like, and please yell it when you do.
Tell me why.
Because it channels all of the suppressed pain and anger into a word that can be actually spoken and not hidden, and then it's just like reclaiming something is a very powerful process, because it's choosing to be empowered and to stand up and to speak and to not be afraid. And that's the most beautiful thing we can do, I think, collectively right now, is to not be afraid, or to embody the fear so fully that it's acknowledged. Like, not the fear, but the energy behind it, the intensity and the trauma, like to really go there and then be like, yes, I'm reclaiming this word because I've gone there.
Because you're forgiving the unforgivable. The word is indicative and symbolic of the desecration of the feminine. Something like that.
It's almost like the intensity of people who are like anarchists, and they're like, fuck the patriarchy, and it's just like, there's this intensity, and it's fun to speak words like that without ill intent on anyone else. If it offends people, then that's perfect, because it's there to offend people. If people connect with it, that's great too. But as long as I'm not hurting anyone else and allowing them to interpret it in the way they want, then it feels like
it's coming from a place of love.
It's coming from a place of love towards myself.
And compassion.
Yeah, and not being afraid of being patronized. It's like the third wave of feminism is like, there's like the denying of the masculine, and then there's the reclaiming of the feminine without acknowledging the masculine, and then there's like the reclaiming of the feminine, recognizing the impact we have, and then deciding to take the reins back. Like, okay, and this is my body, and this is my choice, and these are my words, and it's not yours. So, and I think that's kind of why I resonate with the like flamboyant fuck it energy of like, call me a cunt. It's because it's like it's all a big joke, and it's all perspective, and it's a play. Exactly.
It's just metaphor.
Yeah, and
it's words.
It's deep, but it's also light, and it's just all a choice.
So equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PC police in a way keep us segregated. The political correctness of needing to say the right sterilized, factory approved word, because it keeps us from actually being able to frankly speak about race, about the differences between us, about stereotypes and generalizations and preconceived notions and misconceptions, and just this, complete lack of understanding between national lines, or even just community, like small community lines, right? The illusion of separation. And so that is what dissolves it, is constantly finding the middle way between the two poles, and using all of the language or none of the language as is guided by the Almighty.
Wait, no.
And by spirit too. I feel like humans are such a beautiful expression of spirit, because like with the recent movements of the past few years in the Northwest here, with like the Black Lives Matter and what's going on with the Indigenous people, and just like forms of reconciliation is.
Wait,
like,
can you just chill like that? Sorry, carry on. Sorry,
like
but just don't move.
Okay.
Don't move.
That's epic.
Okay.
Really don't move.
Okay, she's talking. Go.
But yeah, it's like about breaking boundaries and redefining, and then tuning into when it's time to listen again about
this is
other
beautiful.
people teaching
I'm
me
so sorry.
how to redefine, based on like wisdom and culture and just all the things, it's like breaking the boundaries, but always tuning into when and where it's appropriate, and who is receiving the message, and when it's important to be bold and wild, and when it's important to like be humble and quiet. I feel like that's such a huge part of it, but it's nice to recognize like I'm with beautiful people who are super open and receptive and fun and playful, and therefore call me a cunt, call me a bitch, and or whatever. But I feel like it's
and just have a laugh at it. Enjoy the comedy of it all.
The comedy, but
the levity, the lightness.
Yeah, but it depends.
It's not mocking if it's done through the heart.
Yes.
Right.
But everything will always offend someone, and it's important, I think, at this time to really see the defined lines of like what is and what is not appropriate.
So purity.
purity and intention, and I think more than
Innocence.
anything, receptivity. When people guide us and show us that there's a pain body there and it needs to be respected.
Right.
And that's part of like the divine feminine. It's like crazy wild, and it's very nurturing, and it's tuned into the energetic of those around and how they feel and what's important to be held and nurtured. And I think right now there's a lot of pain that's coming up that needs to be held and nurtured, and maybe not even in a coddling or close way, but just like from a distance. And so part of that is taking accountability for how we speak about others and ourselves. But since I am my own being, I can speak about myself how I wish, and that's why it's fun to reclaim those names. This is so
It's like compassion. You're just describing like the coordinates for compassion.
coordinates. That's
like
so
the
funny.
the roadmap.
Yeah, I feel like
Step-by-step instructions. This is compassion.
Well, genuinely caring about others, yes, while choosing for myself. Yeah.
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Yeah, that's the word.
Wow,
Yeah.
thank you, sister.
Well, thank you for recording the rambles and the dancing.